What do you need to do and to prepare to bring home a rescue or rehomed parrot, in other words, not a baby, so that you can ensure the best experience for them and the best bond for you both. Hey guys, I'm Kaylin, the author of The Parrot Bliss Bond. My mission is to help people really increase the bond with their parrots so that they don't need to rehome or rescue, but if you do, then let's talk about what you do with that. Please look for my book, The Parrot Bliss Bond, on Amazon.com, and for my almost released, we're so close. I'm like ready to almost push the trigger on one of them for Get to Know Cape Parrots and African Greys. And if you are used to hanging out, thank you guys for being here. I really appreciate that you spend some of your day with me. Let's get started. All right, guys, so the first thing that I will talk about when it comes to rehoming or rescuing a parrot, bringing one home, is that, that was one of my Indian ringnecks flying by, and there is one of them again. The premise that I operate off of is that if a parrot's physical, emotional, and mental or intellectual well-being are present, then they are able to relax and start to focus on having a bond. You can also think of this as when Maslow's hierarchy of needs are taken care of, then there's time to do things like create a relationship and play and relax. In other words, when we're stressed out, this is true for us and parrots too, when we're stressed out, our bodies are busy trying to deal with the stress, and so they actually don't do things like take care of us. In other words, like your immune system gets suppressed when you're stressed out, for example. So when it comes to the back of my yellow-naped Amazon, I'm just being funny because she's now giving you her back. When it comes to parrots, the same is true. If they have something going on that is keeping them from their well-being, which can very likely be the case when you are bringing a new parrot home, new to you, then they aren't able to relax and enjoy and consider bonding with you. So when you bring a new parrot home, I want you to, for a minute, try to step into their wings and see things from their perspective. What has happened with them, generally speaking, is they were put into some sort of situation, either physically in the rescue or maybe if they're being rehomed by their owner, maybe things haven't changed, but things have changed because the temperament has changed. Something has caused the owner to decide to surrender their parrot one way or the other, and the parrot has a sense of this. Now, when they're in a rescue, that means everything's changed, and that means that when you bring them home, everything's changed twice. If you rehome a parrot, bring a parrot home that is rehomed, and they go from their previous home to your home, that's only one change. But I want you guys to keep in mind that this means that diets change, the cage changes, the scenery changes, their flock changes, maybe even the temperature changes. Like everything looks different, like everything that they experience with their five senses is going to be different. So that's a lot of change. Therefore, when I bring a new bird home, especially a rescue, there are several things that go on and several things I do. I kind of really have to be in the right frame of mind because I really focus on taking care of my birds and what I call onboarding a new bird. It's not like you just bring a new bird home and you throw them in a cage. Like, it's not like that at all whatsoever for me. It's far more complex. So let's talk about the different things that I do and that you might want to look for, because I have a couple of blissful YouTube members who are rescuing parrots and therefore, or bringing them home, you know what I mean? And therefore they've got adult birds coming to them. And how do you prepare? How do you get ready for that? Like, what do you do? So the first thing I'm going to talk about is onboarding, right, Lorenza? And I'm almost about ready to put Lorenza back in because I don't know if she's bothering you with her. Hi. But I guess I will start by, before we talk a little bit about onboarding, I think I'm going to tell you that if you don't already know, this is Lorenza, my yellow-naped Amazon. Out of all my parrots, Amazons are not my very favorite species, although I really do like Amazons. But Lorenza is my feathered soul sister. What I mean by that is Lorenza chose me, and for that reason, she and I have always had a blissful bond. It's like she said, that's the one that I want, and it worked. I wasn't in the market for an Amazon. Because Lorenza chose me, it's like she knows that we are meant to be. Hi, sweetie. You could see she's always nothing but gentle with me. That's not 100% true. Because Amazons are one-person parrots, and if there's someone around that they don't like, that they feel threatened with, they will get aggressive. But, and I'm just saying that because I want you to understand that Amazons are not sweetie, sweets. Lorenza is more sweet because she chose me, so it's a little different. But what I want you to see here is this is a Rehomed, and she took to me before I brought her home. You could see I'm not scared of having her on my shoulder. I've taught her to give me a kiss. Lorenza, give me a kiss. Which she does. She's usually not on me. Give me a kiss. Good girl. That's the kiss. She puts her beak on my nose. Yeah, thank you. You're such a good bird. She really adores me, so she's very sweet to me. If I have her like on my arm or something and she's falling, she'll try to grab on with her beak, but if she's gonna hurt me, she'll let herself fall. And that's incredible. She will fall and hurt herself, and her bones are not in good shape. Because I don't know exactly how old she is. The vet did an x-ray. Her bones aren't in good shape. She is not a young, healthy, vibrant bird. She is a older, weakened bird from a poor diet who looks pretty good, all things considered, which I attribute to the diet she gets here with me. But her falling is really significant. Like, I don't want her to fall because I'm afraid that she'll break one of her bones one of these days. And it's like kind of a matter of time. I don't know if bones heal and repair, but anyway. But I want you to see that it is possible to have a rescue and have an incredible experience. And so I want you to realize that the things I'm going to talk about that I have done to go to that place, I think have really helped me be successful. I'm also going to try to bring Henry out and show you an example of a parrot who I rescued and who I don't really have a bond with. I like Henry, he'll let me pick him up, but his bond is with Ursulus, another one of my Amazons. So I kind of want you to see different ends of the spectrum, because in one, Lorenza wanted to bond with me and I bonded with her. In another, Henry doesn't really want to bond, and I'm okay with it. In other words, you know, one of the things that you really want to look at is, with your rescue, what kind of experience do you want to have? Or with your rehomed parrot, do you want to have a bond like this? Or are you like, you know what? I don't have to be like this. They can be a bird, they can be on their own, they could be doing their own thing, which is pretty much what I did with my African grays. Can you see both of them right there? Yes, you can. Right now, you know, they'll let me pick them up on sticks. They'll let me pick them up, but then sometimes they get bitten, so I like the stick better. They're outside right now, so are my Indian ringnecks. Earlier I had more birds outside. It's a beautiful Sunday morning, so it's a great time to bring as many outside as I can, and I bring them out depending on who gets along, that kind of thing. Also, you know, I don't want too many out here. I keep my eye on them, that kind of thing. So you could see that there's different levels of a rescue. I love my African grays. I just wrote a book about them, but it doesn't mean I'm like this with them, nor is their species really this kind of bond. An Amazon does pick one other creature, parrot or human, to really bond with, and that's the case with Lorenza and myself. Okay, now Lorenza, let's put you back and we'll talk about onboarding. All right, now here we have Macy, my Cape parrot, and Macy I got when she was about a year and a half. But she also chose me. I'm gonna tell you, I know, you know, I don't know if you're gonna think this sounds silly. I think this is really, really important. When I saw Macy, I said to her, you know what? Come here, sweetie. I am going to take care of you. And if a Cape Parrot wants to cause damage, man, they've got that big old beak. They're the only ones with a beak, other than the macaw family, that can open a walnut. So it's a significant beak. And so I was really brave. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna, if you want, I'm gonna take you home. I'm gonna take care of you. And it's not like Macy went, yes. My macaw does that, right? Yes, yes, yes. Our new rose-breasted. But I don't know. I feel like Macy was happy too. She really is happy with me. She adores me. She does not get along with the other Capes as well. Although she lets me put her in a cage with the male, one of the male. She just wants to be with me. So another example of a rehome that has gone well, but she was young. So the age of the rehome doesn't make a difference. And generally speaking, the older the bird and the bigger the bird, the harder it is to create a bond. It's not, I don't think it's ever impossible. I don't believe in absolutes, so I wouldn't say it's impossible, but I am gonna say I'd be lying to you if I said that it's just as easy. Lorenz and I, we had to build up our trust with each other, even though she chose me, and she got on my shoulder day one, and I was like saying to my husband, oh my God, what do I do? But, and Macy has really been similar. However, there are others, like I said, the African grays, I try to pick them up with a stick so that I'm comfortable. That's where my trust level is at. And it's just because, sometimes something else scares them. There's a different noise. And even though African gray parrots don't really get scared, if they do get spooked, they just reach down and bite. So the older the parrot and the bigger the parrot, the more it takes. I feel like African grays, they like me, they know me, they're comfortable with me. They're not all beak. They're not like, I'm gonna bite you. It's not like that. But at the same time, it's not lovey-dovey. When I onboard a bird, when they first come home, I'm going to obviously have a cage ready for them, but I'm going to check that they are eating, sleeping, that they can relax in their cage. So I know this sounds silly, and for most parrots this just is so not a problem, but when you first bring a parrot home, you want to make sure that they can reach the food bowl. For all you know, for some reason, I don't know, they're scared, or they can't get their head in the food bowl. There's different things. Like my Cape parrots, this beak has a hard time sometimes getting into some food bowls. This is really important to me, so I just watch to make sure. I have just fallen short of weighing the food bowl before I put it in, and then weighing it the next time to make sure, because sometimes I'm like, I wonder if I should weigh it, but I do look, and I kind of see when you pour the pellets in, it's kind of flat, or it's smooth the way they fall in. So I look to see that there's less and that it's not so smooth anymore, because at least that means they've been in there. Depending on where the bird came from, depending on what I do or don't know about them, I might put seeds in. I don't love seeds. I do think it's important. Like right now, my young green cheek conure, I should say my young Puria parrots, although my Dusky isn't a Puria, but my young conures, they're getting seeds because they were really thin. Youth needs fat, and it needs the appropriate fat. It's not inappropriate, so I'm like, okay, I need to give them more seeds. I do. I watch to make sure that they're eating. I watch to make sure that they see where their water is, that they know where their water is, that they're drinking. I watch to make sure that the perches are the right size for their feet. You want a perch to, if my palm's the dowel, you don't want the perch to be so small that they can put their feet all the way around. You don't want the perch to be so big that they can hardly get their foot around it. You want the perch to be such that they can get their foot about 3/4 of the way around the perch or something like that. And you want different size perches, of course, and I'm gonna watch for that. I'm gonna watch, do they get on the perch okay without a problem? Here, step up, sweetie. Do they go from perch to perch easily? Like that? Or, for example, Hera, she is going blind. And I'm going to confuse her for a minute for you. Hey, Zeus. Oh, sorry, Zeus. I didn't mean to scare you. I'm going to put a stick out. And Hera's good at the stick. But did you see? Okay, now down. Good girl. Did you see how slowly Hera stepped up? She does that because she doesn't see well. So when I'm first onboarding a bird, I'm looking for those kinds of things. Is there one perch they liked? Is there one perch they didn't like? For some reason, on a wooden perch, they shouldn't need vet tape, but do they need something softer? If they don't just step up, something's wrong. Are their feet worn? I'm looking for all the clues that are gonna help me understand how their physical well-being is when I'm first onboarding. Like, this is like phase 1 kind of thing. I'm gonna look at them. I'm gonna see where they came from. Do I know the home they were in? Do I not know the home they were in? Like, what do I know? And these questions are gonna lead me to, how's their health? Do I know how their health is? I'm going to look at, because one thing I'm assessing is how quickly do I need to get them to the vet. I'm gonna look at the nares. Are they leaky? The eyes, are they drippy? The beak, does it look dirty? If I could see into the tongue and I could figure out what tongue color means what, I would do that too, but I've never figured that out. I'm gonna look at the bum. Can we see your bum? And I'm gonna see, is it dirty? In other words, their vent is supposed to be clean, even though they drop their droppings and there's feathers all there, but I'm looking because it should be clean. If it's not clean, that's a sign of an infection or a problem. I'm gonna look at their feet. Are they, how do they look? Just kind of look overall. If I can, I'm gonna open their wings gently and just kind of see, is everything working? Can they open their wings? Can they fly? Can they not fly? If I already know this from wherever I got them from, great. If I don't, these are things that I need to know. I'm gonna observe as much as I can. I have literally kind of been close to one of my birds and listened to see, is there wheezing or is their breathing normal? And I took Lorenz to the vet and I looked at my vet and I said, and I think she's like, I think something's wrong and I think she's wheezing. And my vet looked at me like, I think she gave me a really serious look because they will have respiratory issues. Their respiratory systems are so much more delicate than ours. And that is a problem, a huge problem. And if it's not nipped in the bud, death is not very far behind. Can't breathe, can't live. That's just kind of the way it goes. So I think my vet gave me that look and instantly listened to her heart and her breathing and instantly it's like, yep, we have a problem here. And we solved it. Problem solved. No longer a problem. But these are things that I check for. I observe them and I see physically how they're doing on their onboarding process because I want them to survive more than 1 minute, right? I mean, these are the things I'm looking for. Let's see, what else? Check for illness, limitations in their feet. We talked about that. Plucking. I've got a plucker here. Unfortunately, she's a plucker. I don't really want to give her Haberdol, the drug. I don't know why. If I don't have to, I don't like to. Plucking is, it's not the greatest. It is an indication that she may not be super, super, super happy. One problem is because she went through a situation where her previous owner died and then while her previous owner was getting sick, I think she just got ignored and didn't get her needs met. I think it's stressed her out. Once a parrot starts plucking, sometimes it's like impossible. It is very difficult to get them to stop plucking. So that is some of my initial onboarding. Now, when it comes to emotional and their behavior, I'm gonna observe them and I'm gonna observe their behavior. I'm gonna start with their temperament. Is this a friendly bird? Is this not a friendly bird? Do they seem angry? How do they seem? For example, Julian, who actually never flew over, he seems really sweet, but he's really shy. I'm going to look, do they seem like they get along with other parrots or do they seem like they don't? Emerald is a really good example of this because she was nervous initially with us, but she did take to me and now she's comfortable with all of the people in the house I think she really likes being around the birds in the house. She thinks she's a macaw. She sleeps on the macaw's cage. It doesn't matter if you move the macaw's cage, that is where she sleeps. I put a perch there for her because that is where she sleeps. But she does not make friends with the parrots. So I look in their behavior, you know, are you social? Are you not social? Are you antisocial? Because some parrots are antisocial, like Emerald, when they've never been around other parrots. And given that, where do you need to be? Do I usually am going to quarantine. After the quarantine, where do I put your cage? Or when we have time out of the cage, where do I put you? Because, for example, Kailani, my macaw, bugs Bonnie, my golden, and they just kind of bicker. So like they're not allowed to be out of the cage together at the same time because I don't want to see what's going to happen. And they've already indicated to me that it's going to be trouble. So, you know, based on how, do you seem friendly or not, I need to watch my capes. They are perfectly capable of defending themselves. They're not aggressors. So it's easy to have them out. Land shark, she is perfectly incapable of behaving. So I really have to watch who else is out. My Pyonis cannot be out. Land shark will go try to seek him out and hurt him. So, you know, it's like, what is your behavior like? What is your temperament like? Are you an aggressor? Are you timid? Do you need protecting? I would never let my cockatiel out in the room with my big birds. I don't think she would last 5 minutes. Cockatiels are too sweet and innocent. So, you know, you need to like assess these things so that they can be in the proper environment with or without other parrots, be comfortable, have their social needs met, in a way that they're not, you know, like one of my tenets is every creature in my house needs to not feel threatened. Everyone should feel safe and secure. They've got food, they've got water, they've got shelter, like they've got their social. And any other bird or person who violates that, that's not allowed. It's just not allowed. So, for example, do you need a friend? Henry had been in a rescue before he came. He went from the rescue to Bird Gardens of Naples, and I got him from Bird Gardens of Naples. The rescue before, for 7 years, he was in a cage by himself. Did they let him out? I don't know. But he was by himself. They thought he was aggressive, or I don't know. I don't feel like for me, it's not, that doesn't, oh my God. Can you get the stick and get him? Right here. Hi, Zeus. Zeus, you surprised the feathers off of me.
Poor Hera.
I know, and he landed on Hera. Who's blind here? What?
Hera.
Oh, yeah. Ah! Thanks, Zeus. Okay, he flew over, landed on Hera. Anyway, so Henry, gosh, he and Ursulus took to each other. Ursulus needed a friend. Henry wanted a friend. Now they're like this. I'm okay with that. I was going to try to bring Henry out. I can bring Henry out on a stick. I can put Henry on my arm. Henry's a good example. He can't step up on my hands. My hands are too small for him. I have to have him step up on my arm. And even that, he's like, your arms are kind of small, and he's a little nervous. So, you know, you kind of observe, like, what's going to make you comfortable, what's going to make you uncomfortable. And then now Henry, he's happy. He's with Ursulus. It's all good. And I'm fine with that. It works. I'm going to assess their cage. How are they doing in this cage? Is this the right size cage for them? Is it not the right size cage? Cages are never large enough, but anyway. Can they access their food okay? Is their cage giving them a place? Like, where's their favorite place? I find that all of my parrots like to perch as high as they can. So I kind of look at their height and I try to put their perch in a location where they can perch on it and not have to lean down. Like, they can comfortably perch, but then the top is close by them because that's what they like. They like to feel like they're hiding. I also like to make sure that as much as I can, there's either a blanket or the play tops usually have a tray, something solid above them, near them, some wood, something so that they have a level of privacy. It's important to me. I feel like everyone needs their privacy. I've talked about that before. I think it's really important. The location of the cage. Where's the best location for them? Kailani, she comes out every day, so I can put her cage somewhere like in the back with not the greatest window access, because she's going to come out and she's not going to be in her cage a whole lot anyway. Who am I going to put by Kailani? I try not to put the African Greys by Kailani. African Greys, they like it quiet, mellow. My African Greys would prefer to be in a different room from my Amazons and my macaw. Those birds are too loud, not just for my ears, for my African Greys as well. So they are in the same room, okay, but I don't want their cages next to each other. So Kailani is by some of the Kaiks because they're both loud. So that kind of works better. I don't want Kailani by Bonnie, my golden conure, because like I said, they kind of bicker. So like the cage location is important. I'm so particular about where my cages are, and not just like which cage they're by, but like the proximity of the cage. All of these things are things that I look at and I kind of observe. How is the bird with it? How are they doing with it? Land shark, she likes me pretty good. I could probably spend more time with her. She would be fine with that. But like I said, she's aggressive with other birds. She doesn't make friends with other birds. So her cage location, I have her by a window so she could look out the window and have a little more fun, because I can't let her out all the time because she's aggressive. So all of these things come into play so that I'm giving my parrot, especially a new rescue parrot, as much comfort as I can, as much well-being as I can, without them hurting anyone else, so that they can adjust, they can be comfortable. So far we have talked about onboarding the bird, we've talked about observing their behavior, and I've talked about making sure their cage is meeting their needs. And then my daughter knows, I'm like, let's try them in this cage, let's try them in this location. Like, I keep trying different things until I feel like it's as best the combination as it can be for my bird. The fourth thing I'm going to look at is, can I create a bond with this parrot? Like, what's the deal? Because with some parrots, like Lorenza, you saw, I have a super bond. When I take a nap, and Lorenza's like right here, and she'll nuzzle her beak into me sometimes. We have a phenomenal bond. Land shark, I had to clip her because she was going after the Pyonis. I already had to take the Pyonis to the vet once. I'm not doing that again. I'm like, there's no way. So she tried to attack the Pyonis for a third time, so I'm like, you're getting clipped. You're just getting clipped, because there's just no way. When it comes to another bird safety and security, there's just no question. Now that she's clipped, it's really easy to take her on walks again. It's a really good time for she and I to bond. So I find what works and what fits. It's not my first choice, but it's what's working. I watch them and I see what they're curious about. She's curious about killing the Pyonis. Not okay. But you know, who else is a parrot curious about? What do they like? Believe it or not, my shy Indian ringneck, he likes to go hang out on the Amazon cage, around the Amazon cage. I'm like, okay. Another example is Quantum, my male cape. When he was in the pet store, he was by a galah, so he really likes the galah. He went up to the galah, he's like looking at her, and at first I was like worried. I'm like, are you gonna attack her? So, you know, I watch to see who do you like? What are you curious about? What do you want? You know, there's what interests this parrot. Do they need more purchase, more toys? Like, you know, I watch for these things so that I can try to give them a setup that's going to put them at ease, make them feel comfortable, help them engage mentally. What toys are they gonna like? What toys do they want? One of my favorites is the coffee cup, like cardboard and coffee cup holders, because they're cardboard and the birds love them. Let's see. I also look like, does the parrot want to bond with me or not? Do they want to bond with another parrot? Like, how do I want to handle that? Am I okay with that? Which I kind of already talked about. But anyway, so this is everything I have on my list. These are the things that I look for, because by the time I've done all that, hopefully they're healthy because I took them to the vet. I made sure they're eating. Hopefully they're comfortable because I checked out their cage. I made sure the cage works for them as best as possible. I look to see, you know, if I brought a cockatoo home, there would be, like, I would feel comfortable with cardboard. There's no box, no box, no box. Cockatoos get extremely hormonal. Now that's like an umbrella cockatoo or something. Bella and Diva are Galant and our Major Mitchell. They don't seem as hormonal. They're not terribly young. You know, but what do they want? What is going to make them safe? My husband covers Diva's cage at night. She likes that. It makes her feel comfortable. It makes her feel safe. And she can poke from under the blanket. It's really cute. And check on him. Like, is he there? And then if he's there, she's fine. This is the way, you know, and seriously though, that's what makes Diva feel good, because she's also a rescue. She's bonded to him. So by the time I look at all of these things, I've taken care of them physically, I've taken care of them emotionally, I've made them feel as comfortable and happy as possible. I've hopefully taken care of them mentally, given them something to stimulate them. And with all of these things together, the last thing I do is I watch. When I first bring the bird home, we watch and we're like, is this bird scared to death? Do they need some time alone in their cage to relax? Or is this bird like, hi, wow, what's going on? I wanna see you, I wanna be with you. You know, what is that temperament again? Because if they're scared to death and they're like hiding in their cage and I'm raising my knees because Hera's walking by, then why not give them a little time to relax, get to know their cage. It's kind of like, look, this is your new home. This is your space. Get comfortable. It's okay. Nothing wrong with that. Or if they're ready to come out and meet me, that's fantastic. Let's start that way. Sometimes when I brought the first Quaker home, they are young. They're not rehomed. They're babies. The first thing I did was go to lunch at my mom's. I opened the carrier, like, you want to come out? So you assess the bird and you assess what they are looking for, what's going to make them comfortable, and that's going to give you the best setup for your parrot. Thank you for joining me in this ever so long blissful video. I will catch you in the next feathered video.